Hello, today we are going to discuss about CDN. The concept behind the CDN is to put the data for the user as close to the geographical location of the user. If you think realistically, we have a incredibly massive data infrastructure designed for high availability, reliability, and speed. So, to summarize, CDN, a content delivery network or content distribution network, is a geographically distributed network of proxy servers and their data centers. The goal is to provide high availability and high performance by distributing the service spatially relative to the end user. Now, we will discuss how caching work in CDN. The user one tried to get an image. The user go to the closest CDN edge location. The edge location go to the origin. The origin responds back with the content and the edge location have the content right now. And edge location forward to the end user. So when the user 2 comes and try to access the same image, the content is already there and the CDN responds back to the image immediately, thus improving the response time for the user. If you look at the single image, this will be the tiniest amount of stress to render the pages and to serve the content. If you have tons of visitors, it can really bog down your server and can cause slow and unresponsive website or web application. So what is the benefits of CDN? If you look at the holistic view of CDN, all the service provider have CDN spread across the geographical location. This in turn leads to the content will be closer to the end user and this will automatically give the better performance and user experience. In addition to that, it also offload your infrastructure load. Before discussing about optimizing the content using CDN, I would like to discuss what happens when you hit the URL. If you know what happens when you hit the URL, then you can optimize your content. If you look at this waterfall graph, you can see what happens when you hit the URL and how much time it took to complete each step. The main steps are 1. DNS lookup. It is nothing but the DNS resolution of your web page. The second one is the initial connection or the TCP handshake time. This is the handshake happens between the end user and the remote server. Next is TTFB. That is nothing but time to first byte. This is the duration from the user or client making an HTTP request to the first byte of the page being received by the client browser, or it is the responsiveness of your web server. And last is the content download time. This is nothing but the time took to download the CSS, the images, the JSS, etc. in the web page. So to summarize, the response time of a website is directly depend on the sum of the DNS time, TCP, SSL if enabled, time to first byte, and content download. Let us discuss on the different type of content on a website. There are two type of content. One static content, two dynamic content. So what is a static content? The state of the content does not change for a given period of time, whereas dynamic content is the state of content change as soon as it gets created. We discussed about what is CDN, how caching works on CDN, what all are the benefits of CDN, what happens when you hit the URL, what are the different type of content on the website. Let us optimize the static content. And when you think about static content, we can list down the images, CSS, and JS files. What else you can cache under static content? Keep in mind, the state of content does not change for a given period of time can be considered as static content. Let us take the example, the web server logs. If you look at the web server logs, you can see the logs marked in blue, the third line and 6th line. So it's a get API call trying to get the device ID equal to 4. What do you think? Can you cache this content? Yes, you can. CDN has the option to cache the content for hours, minutes, and second. Even if your data is static for a second, you can go ahead and cache that data. Similarly, if you log the URL details in the DB, you can also fetch the URL details and cache those details in the CDN. Let us discuss how to optimize the dynamic content. Number one, enable the keep alive connection. If my keep alive connection is on, if I'm making the TCP IP connection, it will never close that again, and the same connection will be used for another user. This will reduce the connection time. Another one is enable SSL termination at CDN. CDN has the ability to support the SSL traffic. SSL traffic get terminated at the closest CDN location, thus reduce the SSL time. And number third is TCP IP optimization. This is a concept called TCP slow start. I'm not going to explain more about this here. So this is nothing but a concept for two hosts to talk to each other at a slow phase and then go much faster. By enabling all these options, you can see the reduced connection time, reduced SSL time, reduced time to first byte, and reduced content download. Hope this 8-minute video helped you to understand the CDN concept and how to optimize your application or website using CDN. All the best. See you again.